Good morning, friends. I wanted to start today by asking you something simple yet profound. What does heaven feel like to you? Is it peace? Is it love? Is it that deep sense of belonging where you don't have to perform, prove, or hustle for your worth? I believe heaven isn't just a faraway place. It's a way of living, a choice we make every single day. Because the truth is, heaven isn't just a destination. It's a state of the heart. But let's be real, life can feel anything but heavenly sometimes. We deal with fear, comparison, loneliness, and exhaustion. So how do we break through that noise and live as if we are already in heaven? All right, friends, before we dive in, let's talk about something important. If you've ever found yourself nodding along, feeling seen, or even just having a good haha moment here, do me a favor, hit that like button. It's a small act, but trust me, it makes a big difference. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. Consider subscribing so we can keep having these conversations, because real growth, real courage, and real connection, they happen over time, not in a single moment. Oh, and one more thing, if this message resonates with you, share it. Send it to a friend, a colleague, or that one person who popped into your mind while listening. Because when we share what lifts us up, we create a ripple effect. And that's how we change the world, one conversation at a time. All right, let's get started. If we want to live as in heaven, we have to stop moving through life on autopilot. How many moments have we missed because we were too distracted, too worried about what's next, or too consumed with the past? How many times have we sat across from the people we love, nodding along while our minds were a million miles away? Heaven isn't a place where we arrive someday. It's a way of being here and now. But to experience it, we have to actually show up for our own lives. That means being fully present, awake, and engaged with what's happening in front of us. It means seeing the person standing right there instead of scrolling through someone else's life on a screen. It means listening, really listening, instead of waiting for our turn to speak. Presence is more than just being physically there. It's about bringing our whole selves to the moment. It's about slowing down enough to notice the way the morning light spills across the kitchen table, the way a child's laughter fills a room, the way the air feels against our skin when we step outside. Heaven is woven into these tiny sacred moments, but we miss them when we rush through life, always chasing the next thing. We tell ourselves that we'll slow down later, when the work is done, when the house is clean, when the to-do list is finished. But the truth is, life never pauses, and if we're not careful, we'll look back one day and realize we were always on our way to something, but we never truly arrived. Living with wholehearted presence is about making the radical choice to be here, to put the phone down, to take a deep breath, to listen when someone speaks instead of crafting our next response. It's about resisting the urge to multitask our way through relationships and instead choosing to witness the people in front of us, because presence is a gift, and not just for ourselves, but for everyone we love. So today, let's make a commitment. Let's stop rushing past our own lives. Let's choose to see what's right in front of us, because the only way to experience heaven on earth is to be fully alive in this moment, exactly as it is. Fear is a powerful force. It whispers to us in the quiet moments, reminding us of everything that could go wrong. It convinces us to play it safe, to keep our hearts guarded, to hold back our love just in case we get hurt. Fear tells us that if we stay small, we won't fail. And if we don't risk vulnerability, we won't experience rejection. But Here's the hard truth. A life ruled by fear is not a life fully lived. Fear keeps us locked inside walls of our own making, distant from the very people and experiences that could bring us the most joy. It creates hesitation where there should be action, distance where there should be connection, and regret where there should be boldness. Love, on the other hand, is expansive, it is risky, it is open. Love invites us to lean in when fear tells us to pull away. Love pushes us to trust when fear tells us to doubt. Love asks us to be seen when fear urges us to hide. Every day we are faced with a choice to live from fear or to live from love. And make no mistake, this is not always an easy choice. Choosing love doesn't mean we won't get hurt. It doesn't mean we won't experience failure, disappointment, or heartbreak. But choosing love does mean that we will be fully alive, that we will taste the depth and richness of life in a way that fear could never offer. Think about the moments in your life that have meant the most, the ones that have filled your heart to the brim. I guarantee that none of them were born out of fear. They were born out of love. The decision to say, I love you first. The courage to pursue a dream despite the possibility of failure. The willingness to forgive when it would have been easier to hold on to resentment. Love is not a feeling, it is a practice. It is a choice we make in 1,000 small moments every single day. It is in the way we speak to ourselves when we fail. It is in the way we show up for the people we care about. It is in the way we choose kindness over judgment, empathy over indifference, and connection over isolation. Fear will always be there. It will always try to convince us that safety is more important than love. But the truth is, there is no real safety in a life lived half-heartedly. There is only the illusion of security and the weight of unspoken words, unlived dreams, and unopened hearts. So today, let's make the choice again and again to live from love. Let's take the risk of being seen, of caring deeply, of showing up fully, because love, not fear, is what makes life worth living. Authenticity is one of the most courageous things we can offer the world. It requires us to stand in the truth of who we are without shrinking to make others comfortable or exaggerating to seek approval. But let's be honest, being authentic isn't always easy. It's messy, it's vulnerable, and sometimes it's downright terrifying. From the time we are young, we are taught, both subtly and directly, how to fit in. We learn which parts of ourselves are acceptable and which parts are too much. We learn that if we play by the rules, say the right things, and mold ourselves into the version of who others expect us to be, we'll be rewarded with belonging, validation, and love. But that kind of belonging is conditional. It's based on performance, not truth. And over time, if we keep trading our real selves for acceptance, we start to lose sight of who we actually are. Authenticity asks us to do something radical, to stop performing, to stop putting on a mask, to stop pretending to have it all together when we don't, to stop seeking worthiness in external validation and start believing that who we are, as we are, is enough. But let's be real, authenticity comes with risk. It means some people won't understand us. Some people may reject us. Some may even criticize us for daring to be real in a world that thrives on pretense. And that's scary. It's why so many people choose the safety of conformity over the vulnerability of truth. But here's what I've learned. The cost of hiding is far greater than the cost of being seen. Because when we hide who we truly are, we don't just lose the pain of rejection. We lose the joy of real connection. We lose the opportunity to be fully known, fully loved, and fully alive. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who inspire you, who make you feel safe, who give you permission to be yourself. I guarantee they are not perfect, they are not polished, distant, or untouchable. No, the people who truly move us are the ones who are real, the ones who show up as themselves, unapologetically and wholeheartedly, the ones who let us see their imperfections, and in doing so, remind us that we don't have to be perfect either. Living authentically isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It isn't about sharing every thought or exposing every wound. It's about alignment, making sure that the person we present to the world matches the person we truly are inside. It's about speaking our truth even when our voice shakes. It's about standing firm in our values, even when they aren't popular. It's about refusing to live a life that belongs to someone else's expectations. And when we do this, when we embrace who we are, flaws and all, we create space for others to do the same. We give them permission to lay down their masks, to breathe, to be seen. That's the power of authenticity. It doesn't just set us free, it sets everyone around us free too. So let's stop waiting for permission. Let's stop filtering ourselves into a version of acceptable that pleases others but betrays our own hearts. Let's dare to be seen exactly as we are, because the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more real ones. And the moment we choose to be real, raw, messy, and beautifully human, we bring a little bit of heaven to earth. We often go through life looking for the big, extraordinary moments, the grand successes, the life-changing events, the mountaintop experiences that will make us feel alive. We chase after these milestones, believing that happiness, fulfillment, and even meaning are waiting for us somewhere in the future, just beyond the next goal, the next achievement, or the next big break. But what if we've been looking in the wrong places? What if heaven isn't found in the extraordinary, but in the deeply ordinary? What if the sacred isn't just in the grand gestures, but in the small, quiet moments of everyday life? It's easy to overlook the ordinary. We rush through our days, preoccupied with our to-do lists, consumed by the demands of work, family, and responsibilities. We tell ourselves that we'll slow down and appreciate life later when things settle down, when we have more time, when we finally reach whatever finish line we've set for ourselves. But life doesn't work that way. Life is happening now, in this moment, in the little things we so often take for granted. Think about the most beautiful moments you've ever experienced. Maybe it was the way your grandmother's hands felt when she held yours, worn and wrinkled, but full of warmth. Maybe it was sitting at the kitchen table with a friend, laughing until your stomach hurt. Maybe it was hearing your favorite song play at just the right moment, making you feel understood in a way words never could. These moments might seem small, insignificant even, but they are everything. They are the sacred, woven into the fabric of our lives, waiting for us to notice. The problem isn't that these moments don't exist. It's that we've trained ourselves not to see them. We are constantly looking ahead, thinking that joy and fulfillment live somewhere else, when really, they have been here all along. We just have to slow down enough to pay attention. Finding the sacred in the ordinary means waking up to the beauty that already surrounds us. It means recognizing that the smell of fresh coffee in the morning, the way sunlight filters through the trees, the simple act of holding a loved one's hand, these are not just routine parts of life. They are life. They are glimpses of heaven, invitations to presence, reminders that we are already standing in something holy. It means shifting our perspective, learning to see the world with fresh eyes, the way a child does. A child doesn't rush through life, distracted and impatient. A child is captivated by the simplest things: a butterfly landing on a flower, the feel of rain on their skin, the magic of a bedtime story. Somewhere along the way, we forget how to see the world this way. But the sacred never disappears. We just have to remember how to look for it. And here's the most beautiful part. When we learn to find the sacred in the ordinary, life itself becomes more meaningful. Gratitude replaces emptiness. Wonder replaces boredom. Contentment replaces the endless chase for more. We stop waiting for the big moments and start realizing that the small ones were the big ones all along. So let's make a commitment to slow down, to breathe, to pay attention. Let's stop waiting for something extraordinary to make us feel alive and start recognizing the miracle of the present moment. Because heaven isn't just something we hope to reach someday, it's something we can experience right here in the ordinary, sacred beauty of now. We go through life gripping so tightly our plans, our expectations, our relationships, our success. We hold on to control as if it guarantees certainty, as if our sheer force of will can bend life to our desires. But life doesn't work that way. No matter how much we plan, no matter how carefully we build, life has a way of surprising us. And when we cling too tightly, we set ourselves up for disappointment, exhaustion, and sometimes even heartbreak. Living with open hands is an invitation to surrender. Not in a passive way, not in a way that means giving up or not caring, but in a way that allows us to loosen our grip and trust that we don't have to control everything to be okay. It means holding our dreams, our relationships, and even our struggles with a kind of sacred openness, ready to give, ready to receive, and ready to release when necessary. We live in a world that tells us to fight for what we want, to hold on to what we love, to chase after security at all costs. And while there's wisdom in being persistent, there's also deep wisdom in knowing when to let go. Sometimes we cling to things that are no longer meant for us, a job that drains us, a relationship that has run its course, an idea of who we should be rather than who we actually are. And in that clinging, we create suffering. We resist change because it's uncomfortable, because it feels like loss, because we are afraid of the unknown. But the truth is, life is change. Growth is change. And holding on too tightly keeps us from experiencing the beauty of what's ahead. Living with open hands means embracing both abundance and loss with grace. It means celebrating what we have without the fear of losing it. It means loving people deeply without trying to control them. It means trusting that when something leaves, whether by choice or by circumstance, something new will come in its place, even if we can't see it yet. Think about a clenched fist. When we hold on too tightly, we create tension. We cut off the ability to receive anything new. But when we open our hands, we create space for love, for opportunity, for healing, for whatever's meant to come next. This isn't easy. It requires courage, it requires trust, and it requires us to be present, to accept life as it comes instead of constantly trying to force it into a shape that feels safer. But here's a beautiful thing. When we live with open hands, we don't just make space for new beginnings. We also find freedom. Freedom from anxiety, freedom from fear, freedom from the belief that our worth is tied to what we have, what we achieve, or what we can hold on to. So let's practice this today. Let's take a deep breath and let go of what's weighing us down. Whether it's an expectation, a past regret, or a need for control, let's trust that we don't have to carry it all. Let's live with hands open, hearts open, and a deep belief that whatever comes next will meet us exactly where we are. Friends, heaven isn't some far off dream. It's here in this moment, in this breath, in this choice to love, to show up, and to embrace life with our whole hearts. So let's live like we belong. Let's live with open hearts, fearless love, and deep gratitude. Let's live as if we are already in heaven. Because maybe we are. Thank you.